Alright, here we are at the second battle of the Prussia's Glory 2. This is Kolin. I went through another hell of setup. This time I decided to use kind of the free setup that looked like it would be easier than looking up every number and then saying, oh, what about these pieces? Well, mistake. I don't know. So, one of the reasons I did this is I wanted to play with the hidden movement rolls. And I've got all the Austrian commands set up hidden, except for some pickets, some Croats, and some Hussars, which don't really get a good explanation of how to cope with in the optional roll, but I just put them where they're supposed to be and let them be visible. No problem at all with the Prussians. They just had to set up behind a line, so, you know, whatever counters I have that turns out have an N on them, I put into play. The fact that there's a second scenario using the same map and almost the same pieces, I thought it would be the same pieces, means that a bunch of the Austrian counters, you can't really see it the way I've got zoomed, but somewhere up there there's a tiny little K. Alright, be nice if the rules explained. Only set up the N units. Started trying to figure out where the hell those other units went, and spent about an hour trying to track that down. Finally looked at the counter setup for the best setup for the scenario or whatever, which it doesn't give you for the optional scenarios. It only gives you for the historical scenarios. And yeah, those units aren't on here, so I'm assuming that they belong in the next scenario on this map. Maybe. Who knows? I mean, every one of these battles starts with a K, so but anyway, turns out this may not be the greatest battle choice to use the hidden movement. The Austrian defensive position is fine for it, but the Prussians start out basically in view already, so I just deployed them normally. The Austrians do get a couple hidden counters, and which are just replacement units, and that's actually clarified in the rules, just in a parentheses on the heading, nowhere in the actual body of the rules that people read. Anyway, I'm hoping to be able to draw some fun out of this now that I have the feel of the system. One of the special rules in this scenario, so it was apparently a very hot day, and the armies get exhausted, and the way that's going to be handled is using the same morale tracks, except that exhaustion is recoverable, whereas losses and most of the other costs are not. Recoverable by something other than combat successes. And even combat successes are not fully recovered. They just pump your morale up, and there isn't a lot of room there for that. Historically, this was Frederick's first loss. Dawn handed him a defeat. This was an attack against a well-established position. Frederick went right uphill into the guns. The irony that they point out is the fact that Dawn was actually under orders to attack Frederick at all costs to relieve the siege of Prague. And that's what the next scenario actually covers is, well, what if Frederick didn't attack and just positioned himself in a defensive position? Would he have an advantage? We'll see. We'll see if I'm up for playing one of the non-historicals. But this should be good for now.